Hey guys, welcome to another episode here of Sober Stories, where we interview sober people in sobriety. And today I have a very special guest. His name is Amir, and he's a friend of mine that I met just in my sober journey. I don't want to give too much detail about how we met unless you want to elaborate or talk about your story. But yeah, super excited to have him here and super grateful that he was open enough to come and share his story. So with further ado.
Hi, Amir, alcoholic. My story, I wouldn't say everybody has a similar story, but it really boils down to, sure, I'm an alcoholic, and I actually just talked about it with my therapist today, and the best way I can compare it to is if someone was, they're religious, but they're Christian. So I have an addictive personality, but I'm also an alcoholic. And so as far back as I can go, probably the first thing I got addicted to was watching TV. And it's just something I would use to escape reality. And, then it got to food, and at some point, my family and we moved abroad, and we moved to France, and I was introduced to alcohol there first, and it wasn't a big deal, but that's when I first got my first couple experiences with that feeling of that different feeling where all of a sudden I had less anxiety, because I also had a lot of anxiety growing up. And TV was not just a way to escape the world, but also escape my mental thought processes of over-explaining things to myself, or just going down this rabbit hole, even before the rabbit hole of Instagram was around, just worry and worrying about the past. Like, what did I just do yesterday? What is the outcome going to be tomorrow? And that's really what hooked me to alcohol. Marijuana calmed me down, but alcohol, I've always had tremors in my hands, for example, since I was a kid. Doctors have no idea where it came from. I think it's neurological. It might be anxiety. But when I would drink alcohol, it would just completely go still. It got even more still with marijuana that I had chefs introduce me to. Well, they introduced it to me. I didn't have them introduce it to me. Whatever.
I totally relate to that too.
The tremors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought about it. I'm probably not as severe, but also just a dis-ease, and then when I would drink, feeling it just completely go away.
Yeah. It was even funnier because I was a chef for 10 years, well, in a kitchen for 10 years professionally, and I would be cutting things, and I can cut without looking at my hands, but I'm so used to having my tremors in my hands that I can easily cut things or prep things without looking, without fear of cutting myself, because I'm so used to cutting things. And people would look at me and they're like, "I'm so scared you're going to cut yourself because your hands are shaking." And I would make a joke like, "Well, the real trouble is when my hands stop shaking. I don't know how to cut without my hands shaking." But anxiety was the number one drive to drinking. But again, I'm addicted to I'm addicted to things in general, and one of those things is habits. Well, once I create a habit, I get addicted to the schedule of it. You're in school, and when I was in school, snack time was always at 11 a.m. So every time at 11 a.m., all of a sudden my stomach is hungry because I'm ready for a snack. And I just got the habit of just drinking at the same time or toking up at the same time. And once it became a habit, I got addicted to the habit of doing it. But the thing is, those habits are addictive. Right. And it got to a point where my body wasn't addicted to the habit of anymore. It was more addicted to the substance itself. And I had a lot of bad things not happen to me, but outcomes of that behavior, obviously. I had a DWI when I was 26 years old. Just recently got off the probation. For some reason, it was 10 years.
I don't know what a DWI is.
Driving while intoxicated.
Okay, yeah, I've had that. I got that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know the difference. Honestly.
DUI.
Yeah, DUI, DWI. But I honestly don't, things like I don't remember how many times I've blacked out. People I know, as we might call normies, they're like, oh, I remember this. I remember 3 times I've blacked out in my life. And I'm like, 4 years, maybe 5 years of my life, I blacked out every night to be able to fall asleep. I had trouble falling asleep, especially working in the kitchen with all that adrenaline. Getting home at 1 o'clock in the morning, I have to wake up at 9 o'clock the next day, and it's just like, all right, let's black out. But there's another layer to that. I remember all of my dreams, and especially when I got worse with my drinking, the dreams, they were all nightmares. So when I blacked out, though, I wouldn't remember the dreams. Right. So I wouldn't feel the trauma of the dreams, but
Interesting.
Apparently I still had those nightmares because when I was in rehab, my roommate would let me know that I'm screaming in my sleep or I'm grinding my teeth like crazy. Oh. And that's when I actually started taking a medication that apparently helped with nightmares, and it did for a long time, and I'm weaning off of it right now because I'm finally starting to have dreams where it's just like they're good dreams, you know?
Yeah.
Like before I started drinking heavily, I used to have dreams where I'm flying, or I have these like special abilities, or like I can control the dream like I'm Neo in the Matrix.
Totally.
And
same.
Yeah, for the longest time, you know? And then I started drinking heavily, and I'm having these nightmares, and I'm waking up 4 or 5 times a night. And sometimes I wake up where I think they're called waking dreams, but I'm like laying in bed and I'm awake, but I can't get my body to move.
Yeah.
And those were the worst nightmares. And sometimes I had these as a kid, but not because I was drinking, but I would wake up for school, and I'm getting ready for school, and I get it all packed up, I'm leaving the door, and all of a sudden I'm in bed again, and I'm waking up for school again, and almost like an inception dream.
Yeah.
But it was really bad when I had these nightmares from drinking, because I would have to call people in the morning and say, you know, you were in this dream, and horrible things, so realistic, you cannot tell if they were just a dream, because there was no, you know, it wasn't like there was a unicorn in that dream, and unicorns don't exist. But they were so realistic, and almost to the point where you were like, I was so scared it actually happened, because when I was drinking, I was not in control of my inhibitions. So I remember saying these terrible things. So when I would have these dreams, sometimes I would wake up in the morning and call these people and ask them if these things actually happened. Drinking, I hid my drinking from my family very, very well. And they didn't actually see the problem until my first seizure. Because I was in the hospital and they were worried, they had no idea what was going on. And not until they offered to clean my place while I was in the hospital did they see the alcohol problem. Right. They saw my place and the floor was covered in beer bottles. And it was just like, they're like, how do you walk around in your place? And I'm like, well, I put the beer bottles all in the same spot. So it's like hopscotch, you know, but with beer bottles instead of, you know, land. But that didn't stop my drinking. I mean,
how did you get the seizure, if you don't mind me asking?
Honestly, the doctors did a lot of tests. I had EEG tests. I had that one that was 3 days long, so I had this like the electrodes to my head with like the bandage, whatever, with like a little monitor to monitor my brain waves for 3 days. One time for a day and the other time for a couple of hours, and they couldn't find, you know, like I take seizure medication right now.
Oh, interesting.
But not seizure anti-seizure medication. But really, I think I know what it was. It was the lack of nutrition. I was barely eating. My diet was alcohol. It was in the morning, I woke up, and at this point of my drinking, I was just drinking these 11% alcohol IPAs. It was $10 for 6 bottles. It didn't dehydrate me like wine because those headaches in the morning, and I can just drink it all day without blacking out too fast. And I'm not trying to give you guys a playbook. It's just don't do it. I figured, there's carbs in beer, so that's gonna fill me up nicely. I thought that was like sustainable enough to let me live. And then the only reason I smoked weed was to give me an appetite to eat. And then I would probably just eat maybe one meal a day. And that happened for about a couple of years. And then one day I was invited onto a set for a friend of mine. He was having some YouTube channel thing. It's online now. It's okay. I invested in it, and I was just like, it's a little cheesy, but it's okay. And the last thing apparently I said was Pocahontas. And we're having a heated debate on whether or not Pocahontas was treated well by her captors. And I just said Pocahontas, and I was on a driveway, and I blacked out, and apparently I hurt my neck so bad I had to wear a neck brace for a month. Wow. And I was sober, dry sober, without AA for 2 months. And then I told my family that I was sober, and I smoked weed. I wasn't touching alcohol until about a year and a half later, where I was coming home from a family trip, and it was so stressful for me. And it was abroad, so the alcohol was free, and I drank on the flight back. And my sister, this is what really got me to the point where I knew not necessarily I had a problem, but I had to get something done on the flight back. So the flight arrives back in New York, and my sister, her husband, and her newborn woke me up, and she's like, Amir, we got to get off the plane. And I look up, and we were the last 4 people on the plane. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, I know you drank. And I'm like, oh yeah. And then within a couple of weeks, I was in rehab. But what my sister said to me is like, you cannot be in my family's life if this continues. And it got to a point where that broke my heart, and not because of what she said, but what I was doing to myself and to my family. I also didn't want to be that uncle, like, oh, don't be like your Uncle Amir, like, I don't want to be the cautionary tale. And that sounds a little vain.
No, it doesn't.
But,
it doesn't.
It sounds a little selfish to me. But I'm not sober for anybody else, obviously, except for myself. I did get 2 seizures. So that flight back was after my second seizure. It's nice to drive again. I haven't, before I got sober, I wasn't driving for almost 6 years. It wasn't because of lack of funds, it was because I just wanted to keep drinking. But I was a very sensitive soul when I was a kid, so I get yelled by my parents or something like that, and I took it too much to heart. Or I always said they're the problem and I'm not the problem. I figured myself a perfect child, but I see my sister raising kids now, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I want to yell at that kid, But no, that's horrible. That's horrible. But they're children, but.
But also, I feel like not all kids are as sensitive as alcoholics. I feel like we are literally like the most sensitive people. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then we get the runt of it, because then you see addicts and alcoholics on the streets, and then they're treated poorly, and then it just reinforces the thought that we already have, which is it's us who's the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, proceed. Sorry.
Well, anyways, I go to rehab, and then I'm learning all these things I've never learned before. One of my biggest 4 steps, one of my biggest defects is I'm more of a giver than a taker. And what I mean by that is I give 99.999% of myself and barely leave enough for myself. So I learned about boundaries and healthy boundaries and limiting, what I give away, whether it's material or emotional or whatever it is, and learning when it's okay to say no. Like if you need, personal space, say no. That's one of the number one things I learned about boundaries. I mean, I had no boundaries working in the kitchen. Whatever they asked me to do, I did. I never asked for a raise because I wanted to be accommodating. I called myself a team player. The only reason I got raises because I had chefs who saw my worth and told the owners that if you don't give him a raise, I'm going to tell him to leave. So I never saw my worth. I always thought very little of myself. Sometimes I still do, but not as much as I used to. I was like my mother. She was there for me since the beginning of my sobriety. She helped me with rehab, and she understands this program more than I did. I mean, why I brought her up is because I still can't call myself a chef because the number one thing I respect about chefs and that title is the ability to manage people. And those are the people I can call chefs because, coming up with a menu, ordering food, coming up with recipes, that's the easy part. Managing people is the hard part. I have high expectations for myself, so for some reason I have high expectations for others. But my mother calls me a chef, and she's like, you gotta, not put yourself down because you're a chef, at heart at least. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a career. But that's my self-worth has always been farther than it needs to be. Honestly, I forgot where I was going with that. I get distracted easily. But I had an experience before I got dry sober. This is during the pandemic, so this was 2021. During the pandemic, sorry. So the only AA experience I had was online. My sponsor was 400 miles away. He had, I don't know how many sponsees because he would never get back to me. The online experience with AA as my first experience, I hated it. I was just like, what the hell is this? I don't understand it. Order the book, but I'm not going to read it with you. I was just like, you know what? I can do this on my own. Mind over body. That did not work. But then after rehab, I had a sober living companion, and they stayed with me for a couple months, and they brought me around the city because this is where they also got sober. My first experience was Bread and Roses on Saturday before the Palisades fire, and people are standing up with their time. Mine, I said 31 days, 33 days sober, and 400 guys are screaming like it's like a football game, like, yeah, and just like,
best.
And the best clap you'll get is your first year sobriety. But don't feel disappointed about that. That is the best clap you'll get is your first year sobriety. But everybody claps for any day, any hour of sobriety. I've heard a really loud clap for an hour of sobriety because it's hard, especially, like the best things about these rooms. And honestly, therapy is great, but you're paying that guy to listen and smile and nod. In AA, people are just listening because not only do they understand, not necessarily your path, but there's the path in general. They understand, how hard it can be. But the thing is, it's just I did my 90 and 90, well, more like 150 and 90, 2, maybe 3 times a meeting a day, because every time I felt that anxiety that I used to feel that would give me that thought of, okay, it's time to drink, it's time to use, I was like, let's go to a meeting. But I also had that second feeling where it's like, all right, I need to clean my place, but I don't want to. But once you start doing or start to at least attempt to do it, then you get in the rhythm of getting it done. So it was kind of the same mindset. So the first couple of months can be hard to get yourself into that rhythm or that mindset of I need this for me, so I'm going to get that done. But after every one of those meetings, as I've previously talked, is I've had anxiety my whole life. And not until I touched alcohol did I have that feeling of anxiety relief. And I thought that was the only path to feel that relief of anxiety, to feel what I can only imagine normal people feel every day, like it's a dream, it's like almost like when I was a kid or when I was drinking, I didn't see myself living past the age of 30, not because I'm suicidal, but because I'm like, life is already exhausting. I don't know if I can do it. But after a meeting, even my early sobriety, that dopamine I felt at the end of a meeting, I was just like, oh my God, I can feel sober and feel this amazing at the same time. And that's how I feel after a meeting. And now I have my home meetings. I mean, everybody says they have a home meeting. I have my regular meetings, and I just call them all my home meeting. Fellowship is amazing. You can't expect fellowship to happen right away, but it can. It took me 1.5 years to find my fellowship.
Took me a while too.
Yeah, like sure, you start, people invite you out to lunch. You don't have to like those people. It's like a relationship. I mean, you can love them. You can love them. You can treat them the way we should treat people. But if you don't connect, you don't connect. My fellowship, we finally connected, I mean, we're all very different people, but we all connect because, I don't know, our souls connect in some way, My fellowship is a mix of all different types of people. It's not just dudes, it's girls as well, and we love sugarfish. Sorry for the shout out. Me and one of the guys in the fellowship, we love Wovo. It's his pasta place, But fellowship has been a big part of my sobriety. And the second part is service. I personally like to bake treats, but and I don't bake these treats for myself at home. I just like, one of my passions in life since even before I was sober, since I was maybe 9 years old, is cooking for people. I mean, I just said this at a meeting the other night, that food, just like math, is a universal language. It can bring people together. But food also shuts people up. Especially if the food is good. If the food's not good, they're just holding it to the side and they just keep talking. But if it's good, that mouth is full, and they got to be rude to speak, But it's a dumb joke. I'm a cheesy dude, but sponsors are very important too. At least in the beginning of sobriety, I don't contact my sponsor as much as I should, but I definitely will. I practice my steps every day, even if it's not in order. It's just, you cut somebody off by accident driving, I apologize. Even if they don't see me, I know I apologize. I wave like, sorry. They might flick you off, but they'll see that you said sorry. Like every apology doesn't have to be welcomed with a, handshake. Luckily all my amends have ended well. I mean, I had a friend for 17 years and I made my amends a year ago and it didn't go very well. But recently I made amends with him again and we connected again. We're not the same friends we were before, but we're contacting each other now and then. He invites me to Korean barbecue like we used to go to almost every Friday. And that's pretty much my story up until now. I mean, what I will say is in my sobriety, I respect my space more than I did before. I understand myself more than I did before. I might, feel like I have anxiety sometimes when I'm speaking at meetings, but other people see confidence sometimes. People say, always used to tell me, don't live in your head so much. And I finally understand that I can live in my head as much as I want, but as long as I express it to somebody else to help me manage it a little bit. For me, it's just eating well, exercising a little bit every now and then, get some sun. If you spend too much time indoors, you're not getting that vitamin D. My therapist always said to me, walk 20 minutes a day, you'll feel better. I never took that advice when I was drinking, but
It's true. It
Yeah.
really does help. It's crazy.
Yeah. And the meetings that are outside are the best,
That's
I know daylight savings hit a little hard now, but but that's pretty much my story. I mean, that's the logistics, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And also, I had a question that I wanted to ask. For anyone who's just getting sober and also struggles with anxiety, what is something that has helped you overcome it and that you've seen come up for you?
Meditation, yeah. Meditation, prayer helps. I mean, prayer is more like, I was raised Christian, went to Catholic school, so I understood prayer in the sense of I was told to pray, but I wasn't really praying. I was just saying the words and putting my hands together. Really, for me, prayer is hope. Just have hope. Ask your higher power. Ask whatever entity you feel. I don't really like to say the word believe in because it's more of a feeling. You feel this belief that he or they or whatever it is looking over you. My higher power is cause and effect, which is kind of a weird higher power, but it's more of an understanding of, because it's in the Serenity Prayer, understanding things you can control and things you cannot control. And that's pretty much the things like cause and effect. But I believe my prayer is positive reinforcement. It's like, please help me. Please help me to believe in myself. Please help me to believe I can do it. Please help me have confidence in myself that, for example, for my recipes, that this is going to work out. Not worry so much that the crumble is going to break apart. And because if I just worry about it too much, because I've messed up my baking for the meetings before and I throw it away because I have too much high expectations for myself. And it's not good because sometimes I bake and then I don't have time to throw it away, that I have to bring that baked treat because it was actually a commitment I made and people loved it.
Right.
And it's just something I didn't have an high expectation of myself. And then meditation. Meditation, I want to say, is different for everybody. But the way I was taught in rehab and with my sober companions, sit down, put on meditation on YouTube, whatever you want to do, quiet the mind. Doesn't mean don't think about anything. That's impossible for me, at least. But just stay in your own, stay in the moment for me. For me, meditation is in cooking. So when I'm cooking, mostly savory, that's when it works the best. Because with bacon, I have to constantly look at the recipe and make sure I'm doing everything correctly. But when I'm making something savory, something I can look at a recipe once and be like, okay, so those are the ratios I understand. The whole world escapes. I mean, the best way I can describe it is if you remember your first love, your first relationship, the first crush you ever had where you spend time with them and the whole world escapes and all you see is the tunnel vision, them. And that's how it is. That's my meditation is that food. The whole world escapes. I don't even know if it's sunny out. My TV might be on, but it's almost kind of like, for me, when I'm reading sometimes, it's hard for me to read. I have to read with somebody else. Otherwise, I won't be able to pay attention. I'll be reading, and all of a sudden I start daydreaming. But I've read like 8 pages, and I have to go back, and I'm like, I don't remember reading these pages. And then I go back, and I'm like, wait, I do remember? So that's another meditation that I kind of indirectly, whatever. But I'm a blah 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 blah. Something that just feels like it's a relief of anxiety, but at the same time almost like an escape from reality, but sober, is like meditation for me,
Yeah.
I mean, the moments before I fall asleep, where your eyes are closed and you're seeing lights in your eyelids,
Yes.
and shapes and colors
Yes.
sometimes, and you're almost falling asleep, but you're not asleep yet. That's the closest I get to like euphoria.
Yes, same, 100%.
Yeah.
That is such a key moment for me, and like right before bed and right when I'm waking up is when I do my meditations and my affirmations, because I've heard that like your brain is your subconscious is like high to hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But yeah.
I mean, the moments before you reach, what is it called? REM?
REM.
REM, yeah.
Yeah.
And because I'm sober now, I don't wake up in the middle of the night. I don't wake up with night sweats. I don't have night terrors. I have these good dreams, and I'm weaning off of this medication that I've been taking. And I don't wake up the way I used to, like worried about what I did the night before, because I remember.
Right.
And then my doctors are happy that I'm healthy again, just like, they're like, Amir, you're not 215 pounds anymore. Wow, you're the weight you're supposed to be, like my blood work looks good. And I have genetic disorders that it's very important for me to be healthy. 2 of them since I've had since birth. But I am very happy where I am today. Even if I might not be career-wise, I am healthy. I know who I am, 80%. I am happy with the people I surround myself with. I have a good relationship with my family. I might be a shithead sometimes, but I know how to make amends for them. I know when to make amends for them. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
And it's all because we're sober.
Yeah.
You. Amazing. Thank you, Amir. I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing. And I just really want you to know that it's going to sound cheesy, but I think you're really brave. And I really appreciate you doing this with me. So thanks.
I appreciate you. I mean, Sam's like, every time I saw her, the biggest smile on her face. Just like such a warm energy. And when people are fake smiling.
I appreciate that.
She had the real smiles.
Thanks. Okay, give you a hug.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. What was that?
I'm just giving you a hard time.